This is not just a story of success. It's the story of a young African woman who challenged the world's definition of beauty and won, on her own terms. Lupita Nyong'o was born in 1983 in Mexico City, but raised in Kenya. Her father, Peter Anyang Nyong'o, was a respected political figure and professor. Her mother was deeply involved in running a daycare and a cancer foundation. This was not a poor background. She came from education, structure, and discipline. But even with those privileges, Lupita felt invisible in the world she wanted to enter. At school, she loved acting. She would perform in school plays, imitate characters at home, and recite lines with passion. But the movies she watched, the magazines she saw, never had girls who looked like her. She once said, "I remember a time when I too felt unbeautiful. I put on the TV and only saw pale skin. I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin." The world around her was whispering, "Lighter is better. You're not marketable. You're talented, but you won't get far looking like that." Instead of hiding, Lupita ran toward her passion. She worked behind the scenes first, as a production assistant on films like The Constant Gardener and The Namesake. But she wasn't satisfied with being behind the camera. She knew her place was on stage. So she applied to the Yale School of Drama, one of the best acting schools in the world, and got in. But it wasn't easy. At Yale, surrounded by talent from across the globe, Lupita felt small. She was no longer the most special one in the room. In her own words, "I wept, I crumbled, I quit a few times. But something inside me said, stay." At Yale, she studied voice, physical theater, Shakespeare, deep emotional work. She earned her presence. And in her final year, she auditioned for a film. 12 Years a Slave was brutal, raw, and honest. Lupita auditioned for the role of Patsy, a real enslaved woman who was abused, raped, and emotionally shattered, yet strong. This was not an easy role. Patsy was not glamorous. She was real. Lupita brought that character to life with pain, with silence, with every tear on screen. Audiences wept. Critics stood. And the world took notice. In 2014, Lupita Nyong'o won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Her speech was unforgettable. She ended with these words, "No matter where you're from, your dreams are valid." It wasn't just a win for Lupita. It was a win for every black girl, for every African, for every dreamer in the shadows. After the Oscar, she was everywhere: Vogue, Vanity Fair, Time. She became a global beauty icon. But instead of changing herself to fit in, she celebrated her culture louder than ever. She wore kitenge, geli, and African hairstyles on red carpets. She spoke in Swahili during interviews. She starred in Queen of Katwa, playing the mother of Fiona Mutisai, the Ugandan chess prodigy. Then came Black Panther. As Nakia, she helped represent a vision of Africa that was futuristic, proud, royal, not poor, not desperate, but powerful. Lupita is not just an actress. She's a voice for girls with dark skin, reminding them that they are beautiful. She wrote a children's book called Solwi, about a little girl whose skin is the color of midnight. The book encourages young children to love themselves as they are. She also speaks out about racism, representation, and the politics of beauty. She never chases fame. She chases truth. Lupita Nyong'o didn't just rise. She lifted others with her. She once said, "I hope to create work that is meaningful and inspires, that tells stories from places the world forgets to look." That's what Voices Beyond Borders is about. Stories that go where others don't. Stories like Lupita's. Because beauty doesn't belong to one shade. And talent doesn't belong to one country. It belongs to the bold, the brave, and the true.